Okay, so here's another example right here. So I have, it says solve the system of equation using elimination. I have 15x minus 5y equals to negative 10. And I have 4x plus 2y equals to negative 16. Okay? Number one, do you see that the two equations, they're lining up? Yeah, they're lining up. So the x is under the x, the y is under the y, and the number is under the number. Same as the equal sign. Okay. Now, if I want to get rid of one of the letters, can I get rid of one of the letters right away? No, because there's none that have the same coefficient, right? So the coefficient of x here is 15, and the one for here is 4, right? The coefficient of y here is 5, and then the negative 5, and then the one here is 2. So I can't get rid of it right away, okay? So I have to do a step before I can do either addition or subtraction, okay? So there's two ways that I can solve this. First is to eliminate the y. So let's say if I want to eliminate the y, okay? Can you give me the two equations again? Negative 10? Yep.
4x plus 2y equals negative 16.
Okay. So if I want to eliminate the y, I want to make sure that the coefficient is the same for the y's. Okay? So what would be my lowest common multiple? So what number do I multiply the y with, the negative 5y, and what number do I multiply the 2y with so I can have the same number? By 5, right? Because if I count the multiples of 2, that's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right? 12, 14, whatever. The multiples of 5 is 5 and 10 and 15. 10 is my lowest common number between the two, right? To get 10, I need to multiply this by 2, and I need to multiply this by 5. Okay? Good. So that means I need to multiply this by 2. Since I want to multiply the y by 2, I have to multiply the whole thing by 2. Everything. You don't only multiply one number, because then you're changing your equation. Right? If I multiply the whole thing by 2, then I'm not changing my equality. Okay? Now, we're going to do both. Okay? What would I multiply the bottom one with? 5. So I'm going to multiply the bottom one by 5. Okay? So if I multiply the top by 2, I'm going to get this. 30x minus 10y equals to negative 20. Yes? Goes 2 times 15, that's 30. 2 times negative 5, that's negative 10. 2 times negative 10 is negative 20. Okay? Now, can we just pay attention to this and I'll give you time to copy it? Okay. Then if I multiply this by 5, it's going to be 20x plus 10y equals to, what is it, negative 80? Good. Now you see that the y's have the same coefficient. One is negative, one is positive though. Okay? So what do? Do I add or subtract to get rid of the y? If you have negative 10y plus 10y, what do you get? What's negative 10 plus 10? 0, right? So all what you have to do in this case, because they have the opposite sign, you actually add. Remember how in the previous one we subtracted, right? In this case you add because they already have the opposite sign. Okay? So because they have the opposite sign, because the negative 10 have opposite sign, I just have to add the two system. Okay? 30 plus 20, 50x. What's negative 10y plus 10y? 0, right? So I don't have to write that. Equals to negative 20 plus negative 80, negative 100. Okay? Now, what do you do to get rid of, to eliminate the x? Divide by 50. So that gives you x equals to negative 2. And now since x equals to negative 2, you still have to find y, right? So what you always do, go back to your original and plug x equals negative 2 into one of the original. Pick one, doesn't matter.
So we would remove, like, say, like, 5y. Oh, the bottom.
It doesn't matter, whatever one you want to pick, right? I'm going to pick this one just because it's an easier numbers, okay? So plug, so I'm going to plug x equals negative 2 into equation number 2, okay? So that becomes 4 times negative 2 plus 2y equals negative 16. So 4 times negative 2, that's negative 8. So that's negative 8 plus 2y equals negative 16. Bring the negative 8 over. So that becomes positive 8. And then divide by 2. So y equals negative 4. Okay? So that tells me that my POI is negative 2, negative 4. Okay? So in this case, because I don't have the same coefficient, I have to make it the same coefficient. Okay? And sometimes I have to multiply both equations. Sometimes it's enough to multiply one of the equations. Okay? Now, in this case, I had to multiply both equations. And remember, if you have the opposite sign, you add. If you have the same sign, you subtract.
No, I'm just gonna go over something else with you.
I don't know why this is so going.